BDR, you structure your day in a certain way so you can maximize your output, but you're doing it wrong. And on this episode, we're going to show you exactly what you can do to fix it. Literally, fix it today. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today, and I'm bringing on a guest from the past. It's it's an archive episode. I went and pulled this out because I figured it's needed right now with so many conversations going about, how do we best handle cold outreach? What are some things that we can do? The other day, I did an episode on Apple changes and some of the things that we need to be aware of that. So I feel like this is relevant, and I had to bring Will back. His episode was just straight fire. If you don't know who Will Padilla is, go ahead and click on the links below. You get a chance to connect with him. He's a social sales influencer, sharing a lot of great insights, a seller himself, and he's over the years just blew up because the things he shares are gold. And he shares a lot of things, not only for sales, but also to help you with your mindset and help you with just being more effective. And this is why I felt this conversation is so needed. If this is your first time listening to our podcast, subscribe. Because here's why. We're going to make sure we notify you every single time we drop a new piece of content, but also the content are going to be in one of two buckets. One, to help you build pipe, or two, help you to accelerate deal through the pipeline. And who doesn't need that right now? As we dive into this episode, you'll get a chance to learn about Will and to see why he structures his day this way, or did, and how he still follows this principle in his day-to-day life, and how you can use it and how it will increase the numbers. See how it helped him specifically, and now see how it can help you. Let's go ahead and jump in. Will, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, Donald. Thanks so much for having me here. I'm excited for this opportunity. Thank you.
Bro, I'm pumped about this because they're in even though this is geared towards, we say BDR, this is applying to, the principles can apply to anyone, no matter if you're an AE, a full cycle, or even if you're a client success. Like, you can still follow these principles and find great success. And I'm stoked about this because you're seeing great success in all that you're doing as well. And it's always cool to be able to get people who are, practitioners doing things and making money and making things happen. So I appreciate you taking the time to come on our show today. But I would love for you to take a second. I can brag about you. I talked about you in a teaser a little bit, but tell us a little bit more about what you do, man. Like, you brag about yourself. What do you do on a day-to-day basis? Who do you work for?
Thanks, Donald. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I'll give myself a quick little
Sure.
intro. My name is Will Padilla. I've been in tech sales for about 2.5 years. About a year, I was a top performing BDR at the top software company for influencer marketing. So we're kind of the OG in terms of the influencer marketing space by a company named GRIN. Then I have leveled up to an account executive. So now I'm a senior account executive at the same company. Been doing that for about a year and a half. And I really loved tech sales and gravitated towards it just because of its different sales process. It's more of a relationship base. It's not very transactional. And then I started posting on my TikTok. And on my TikTok, I started growing a pretty large following of other people in the industry finding out about tech sales. They want to learn how to be a top performing BDR. So my whole brand is Will Padilla Tech Sales. It's kind of my MO. So that's a little bit about me. Currently in Scottsdale, Arizona, from Chicago, Illinois. Always been in sales since the age of 16. 16, I was selling freight brokerage services at a mentor's freight company. So I'm always hitting the phone. So it's kind of in my DNA, and just so fortunate enough to now be in tech sales.
Let's go. I love it.
Yeah.
I love this. This is awesome stuff. And this is why I think your pedigree, your background and resume lines up so well with this topic, because as a sales professional, you know it. In the freight broker world, it's like, it moves like a mile a second, right? It's like, it's a quick moving space. And you got a lot of people who are going into that same arena, who are, they're competing. Price is a big, they always want to try to find the cheapest route and all this other stuff. And you have to bring a ton of value, but your days need to be structured well. And then transitioning that into the tech sales arena, like that's like, hyper, even more so, right? Like the tech sales is like, I see it as a varsity of selling.
You
Right?
you hit the nail on the head. And again, every industry is different, and I think I always want to come off as it's no disrespect to any other industry, but I've been in
Straight up.
several others, and it's like it's so transactional. It's you bang out 150 calls, you find again, like you said, a lot of it's price, cheapest rate. That's how a lot of these, I guess you could say, old school sales organizations were
Mm-hmm.
built on. And then you kind of go to tech sales where it's like the first time you call someone, they might buy 8 months later. Like it's like, oh, we did
Bro.
6 meetings with him. I think it's good. Oh, now it's in legal review for another 3 months. Like your
Contract
patience is
hell.
going to be tested. Contract hell. It's in there. It's been there, done that.
So darn true, man. So this is like, and some people don't grasp that. And when people, even if they've been in the industry for a while, I feel like there are things you could do when it comes towards that daily structure that's gonna make your, because if you, like, go back to sports, if you practice horribly, you're gonna perform
Yes.
horribly in a game. If you are having crappy days consistently, you're not, I mean, everyone, no one's gonna hit a home run every single day, but you're gonna hit those days where it's like you have so much to do. But if you're not structuring your days, it's going to show in the end of the month and end of the quarter when your numbers are not there. You know what I mean?
100%. And I think a lot of it, I ran cross country and track.
Yeah, me
So
too. What events did you run in track?
oh, that's amazing. So like they always stuck me in the longest, whatever, whether it was the 2 mile or the 800 was a tough
Ah,
one, but I would do those two, the 2 mile or the 800. Um, and I'd always hang out with the sprinters because we were really
yeah,
good friends. And even though cross country is a long race and the sprinters had maybe 100 or 200 where they're just going all out, I think to your point, a lot of it is the single leg squats they're doing in the gym 3 times the week.
yeah,
It's the stretching 6 times a week. It's the constant cardio. It's the bike getting their heart rate up so they can hit the jump and excel in that 100 meters. So I found a lot of similarities where for cross country or for the 2 mile, we'd run 10, you know? So we would do more so than we actually needed for the race. And likewise, the sprinters, I'd see them just doing laps around the track, but they're only there to run 100 or 200 meters. So BDR is the same way. You may only, as I said, you may only have 6 to 8 qualified demos a month, but you're going to need to be getting, in my opinion, probably double that in discovery calls in order to actually hit your goal.
yeah. So true, man. So let's go into this and dive down. There are three main things that I have here that we talked about before. When it comes these three things. One was planning and prepping your day, and we're gonna go into that a little bit. Then niching your time block. So niche out those time blocks in details, and then working with your AE. Those are the three key things, and that's going to help us to structure our day. So, but I want to go in more depth. So, talk to me a little bit more about the planning and prep, daily, weekly. You mentioned this idea about when we were chatting, like you need to know what you're aiming for. Can you talk to me about this for a minute?
Yeah, so just to kind of give a little background again for everyone listening, I was not always a consistent BDR. I hit the first 3 months, I call it beginner's luck, and then I
Yeah.
missed for 4 months in a row.
Dang,
So
dude.
I missed for 4 months in a row. So from month 3 or month 4 to 7, I missed. I'd missed
Mm.
by 2 or missed by 1, and I was like, "What am I doing wrong?" And I started to look at, well, I go into every day literally winging it, and
Yeah.
frustrating, man. And so I had to have I guess you could call it like a realization, look in the mirror and say, I haven't winged it most of my life. Why am I thinking that being a BDR is no different?
Yeah.
So at that, I guess you can call it 7 month mark, I said no more. And I basically figured out I have all these metrics from my biz dev leader of you have to hit 100 cold calls a week, you have to send 30 videos that are personalized, you have to send 400 personalized emails, you have to do all these LinkedIn connects. And previously, I would just maybe I'd do 2 videos here, maybe I'd watch TikTok for an hour. I'm just being transparent. Like,
And
I'm
bro,
just
But here's the thing, though. You're being transparent, but it's like so true with other people. Like others are watching this and be like, "Dang, I'm on TikTok right now. Let me shut up and listen to these guys."
So yeah, for everyone listening, I'm beating myself up and being transparent. That was the old
Yeah,
me. And so basically, what I realized that I was too distracted, I was too all over the place, and then I'd maybe hit my metrics, but I'd scramble to do it on a Friday afternoon when no one was. That's the wrong time to do all that stuff,
yeah,
anyways. It's too late in the week. So at that 7 month mark, I said I'm going to structure my day and do those metrics first thing in the morning, and then leave the rest of the afternoon for prospecting. So I never was missing quota. I never missed goal. I was a top performing BDR in the company from my structure. I wouldn't say I'm more talented than the next person. It's just that I'm very structured now.
yeah. And I think you're right on that side there. And I go back to the track. So one of the issues that I had, I did the 300 meter hurdles and 4x1 relay and
Tough.
200 and I dabbled in 100, but more so the sprinting part was probably the two. And bro, with one of the things that I did was and I was telling somebody this the other day, like yesterday, I could have probably, I could have, I tried, I probably could have made D1. But in high school, I'm Jamaican and bro, we just run all the time. So I'm like fast naturally. So I rested on my laurels, like straight up, bro. It's like, all right, I can do this. I can go to the meet and I know I'm gonna finish with the schools we ran against. So I was like, I know I'm gonna finish maybe top three at least. And I thought that was a pretty big deal when you have all these hundreds of people at the meet. And then it was like, I'll get first here and there. And I wish I didn't get those first because then it just perpetuated like, okay, I'm all right. I'm doing good. But when I started getting to like the regional level, bro, because what I did before, then I would get these hurdles and put them in a driveway the night before and just jump hurdles. But it's
Yeah.
like, you can't do that if you want to play D1. If you want to run D1 level, you got to make sure or win state. You got to make sure you're coming with your A game all the time. And, but naturally, you see, I didn't run D1 track because I winged it too much. And I go back to what you're
Right.
saying here. The structure, the meals, the workout, those things apply. And I think and I feel so often that salespeople, a lot of us, I feel the bar for sales professional is so low, and I
Mm.
don't want to degrade our industry, but it is in a lot of ways where it's so low. So anyone feel they can get involved, and they feel like, okay, I can just talk to people and get a deal or get an appointment. And it's like that's just more to it than that. The top performers are doing way more, like you're saying. They're doing those reps, and that's kind of like where I get from this notion. Thoughts, feelings on that?
I think you're spot on, and it's like what is the mindset? It's like, is it the victim mentality of like, oh, it's so hard, the prospects aren't picking up? Or
Yeah,
is it you know what, reflecting, I could have made more dials, I could have been more structured, I could have
yeah,
sent more videos. And for me, like the ultimate, like, I think the biggest thing you can be proud of as a BDR is like own your schedule, like own your
yeah,
day, you know? And so my VP would the first time I did it, he messaged me and he's like, noticed you have like blocks all over your calendar. Just want to make sure prospects can, want to make sure prospects can book with you. And I said, oh, I love him. He's like, I said, hey, just totally good. It's actually free for if
yeah,
someone wants to book with me. So I set it to free, but for everyone else in the company, there's no internal meetings on Will's calendar during these times. There's no syncs. I'm not
yeah.
distracted. The phone is off completely.
Let's
So I would,
go.
yeah. So I would do 90-minute sprints. So I would turn the phone off. My company said I had to do, I believe it's 100 cold calls a week, which is actually low for the industry.
Yeah,
But we focused a lot more on video. So we would do 30 personalized videos a week.
there you
Um,
go.
so like every Monday and Tuesday, I would do videos. And then I realized cold calls were super hot, like later in the week, like Wednesday and Thursday. So I'd knock those out from 10 to 1 because I was central. So I was also
Yeah,
hitting people on the East Coast and then people who are maybe just getting out of a meeting on the West Coast, like right before lunch, after lunch. And I would hit all my metrics by, I don't know, Thursday mid afternoon. And
bro.
Friday, dude, and Friday was so relaxing because I got to literally spend 6, 7 hours of prep for the next week and then
Yeah.
prospecting. Like
Yes.
it's a clockwork. And BDRs don't like when I say this, but compared to a AE role, a BDR role is much more science based of if you do X, Y, and Z, you hit these metrics, you continue to prospect, you'll hit your quota. AE is a little bit more of finesse. Can you actually sell? Can you understand? Be
Yeah.
empathetic. So but right now, we're really focusing on the SDRs, and anyone who's listening, you can be a top performer strictly by structure and hard work.
Love it, man. And that goes into that like the niche. And what I love about that is like I remember when I first was I got into a BDR role. At the time they just called it inside sales. You can tell how old, older, right? But dude was the AE that I was working with, James. One of the things he said was like, "All right, I want you to spend your time only reaching out to this type of client during this
Mm,
hour." And I was like, what? And I was like, no, I mean, I can do the bank because we were going for several different industries. I can do the bank and I can do the government. I can do both of them. And he was like, no, focus on one during this time period. So you're not transitioning and switching gears. You're hyper focused on what you're trying to accomplish with this industry. That's why I just love this idea of the block number 2 that you said, like niching and blocking, and specifically, um, doing certain activities. How have you seen that? You kind of mentioned it already, but was there any? What was your? This was one of the questions I thought about when you were sharing. What was your metrics you're trying to hit when you were a BDR, when you first initially started doing this? Was there a number of appointments outcome, or was just more of the number of like the 30 videos and 100 dials, or what?
so you're spot on. So I my goal personally, because I had to hit 8 demos a month,
Yeah,
and I would do the math. Like so many BDRs get hung up on, I booked a qual call. For
yeah,
me, I look at it as an at bat. Like
yes,
not every qual call is a qualified demo, and not every demo set is a qualified demo.
yeah,
And because as a BDR, you might miss some steps in the qualification process, whatever. So my biggest thing was like I would make sure like for the week I would have to get 4 qual calls set. So I'd want four I'd want 4 qual calls every single week, and then that would add up to 16. And then I'd have probably on a good month, I'd maybe book. So it was interesting because like even on a bad month, let's say 10 of the qual calls sucked. That means I still
yeah,
had 6 qualified demos, and then I had maybe a couple lucky inbounds that rolled my way. Um,
yeah,
or I'd have a great month where 13 of the qual calls were money. I got maybe 11 or 12 QDCs, so I was really able to like knock it out of the park. So whatever your demo number is, get double the qual calls to be safe. The more
hmm,
the merrier, but that's just to be safe. And I was like you, where I'd have structures of this hour, I'm just doing Sales Navigator. This
yeah,
hour, I'm just looking up Google reviews on companies in the industry I'm trying to target. Like it was very, like as you said, you can't go from Google reviews to LinkedIn to Instagram to TikTok to prospect. And
yeah.
it's like, it's just too much.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it like a computer, like you and I, like if you have, that's why even when we tell people we're doing podcast interviews like this, close out of your windows, because if your computer is like trying to think about all these different things, you're going back and forth, you're switching back between LinkedIn and your emails and, Riverside, and it's not going to process as fast as it should. I mean,
No,
some computers may be, but it's the same concept. Your brain is a computer as well, as a freaking brain. So, think about it in that same vein. If I'm thinking about and focusing on a finance role, I'm reaching out to CFOs right now. I'm really hyper focused on everything that CFOs are doing, and that makes it easier for me to have conversation rather than trying to talk to the marketing directors right now. It's like, yeah, it's keep your brain focused on one thing. We're sometimes we get to be like those creatures of just like a reptilian brain, man. We just want the basic
yes.
stuff.
Also, there's one thing I should say that was a really fun thing that I'd love to
Please.
recommend to any BDR. So I'll give my guy a shout out. This didn't come from me. This came from my friend Morgan Ingram. on
Big
LinkedIn.
shout out to
He's
Morgan. Yeah.
Yeah, big shout out. My really
Yeah.
good friend of mine. He taught me this method that made my week fun. It was called the 5 by 5 rule.
Uh-huh.
So every day I would have on my little, notepad, a spot of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
and I couldn't log off for the day unless I found 5 new companies to prospect.
There you go.
So that was fun for me, where I'd say, man, I got 5 new companies I'm going to prospect today. Awesome. I'm not leaving my desk until I hit these. So, in addition to metrics, I also found a fun way to prospect. And if you break it down, I was hitting 100 new companies per month, constantly cycling,
Yeah.
constantly. So, my pipeline was huge. I always had constant demos. So, that was a cool thing I'd love to share with the BDRs listening is try the 5 by 5 rule. It's fun.
Love it. And we'll leave a note for that in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
Let's take it home though. The last piece here, you mentioned that the third prong. You know, we've talked so much about planning and prepping your day, weekly planning. Talked about niche in your those block times, but now it's like working with your AE, making their life easier.
Mm.
This was a third leg of our structuring your day. Talk to me about that. How has this been helpful for you, and why is it so important when it comes towards being successful with your daily structure?
Yeah, so just to keep it candid, right? Your AE is your teammate. You're the Batman and Robin of of the sales game. And sometimes it helps to be really good friends with your AE because, hey, maybe you're one away from a promotion, and maybe the
Mm,
demo's not all the way qualified, but you and your AE have a great working relationship where they're going to help you out. It's constant across the industry of kind of you have a good relationship. It works both ways because the AE knows, at least a
good
selfless,
one.
humble AE knows a lot of our success comes from their success.
Yeah.
So when they're hustling, they're hitting their demos every single month, and we're getting qualified demos, we're closing deals. It's a team event. One cannot function without the other.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's important to share that. And also just I leaned on my account executive so heavily for, hey, his name was Eric. Hey, Eric, any advice? Like this prospect just told me that they heard our software is too expensive from a friend and they have all these questions. Do you mind if I loop you into the email so you can respond? He preferred that. He'd say, Will, please, anything like this, any technical questions, CC me. I got you. And we won a lot of deals just by tagging my AE in.
I love it. The and I remember when I did the AE role versus as well as when I did a BDR role. Like I think you get a full when you're an AE, you understand where people are coming from, what they're trying to do, and the idea of that constant communication. One of my coaching clients, he's a top performing AE, just like kills it, kills it. Things that he did was he met with his he made sure he had set specific time to meet with his BDR at his company like every week, and they had just open dialogue with like text message going back and forth, and they just like you said that Batman, Robin, Starsky and Hutch, right? They one volleyed up and they made sure it's successful. Did their part, but it was also like some coaching moments as well because typically most AEs may have experienced that BDR role at one point. I mean, depending on how long they've been doing it, but they can give a lot of great advice and coaching that can help you, and that is one of the things that I saw that helped me out tremendously when I was in that role. And I had to learn to be humble because I was like, I don't know it all, and that helped me a lot. So I give a big shout out to those AEs that took me under their wings back in the days.
It's so important, those AEs that had some
Yeah.
grace, that were really excited to offer their help. And I think as a BDR, from what I see, at least with my own company, is the ones who are successful versus the ones who are not are the ones who can take
Mm,
feedback well.
100%.
So the ones who can take feedback well, implement it fast, they're the winners. The ones who say, well, I don't really want to listen to you because I think I know better, a little bit struggling,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's like, it's just getting set in your way. So when you're a BDR, first thing you should do is say, this account executive, I don't know one account executive who's never done an SDR role. So they all, at one point, were in an
Yeah.
SDR role. they've put in the time, they've moved up the ranks. Give them a little bit of, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
respect, and just learning of like, hey, I'm new to this role. You've done it before. What should
Yeah.
I know? How should I do this role to make our lives the most successful together? In AE lights up when they
Yeah.
hear that. So that's what I'll leave it at. Just have a good relationship with your AE, Starsky and Hutch, Batman and Robin. You guys are going to make money together, close deals, and have a really
I
good
love
time.
this, man. I'm gonna link back in the show notes here with your TikTok and some of the things that you're doing, so folks can take advantage of that and connect with you. But talk to me about that a little bit more. You mentioned it a little bit earlier, but are you dropping a lot of tips, a lot of
Yes.
advice, ideas, or humor? What's some of the things you're sharing on TikTok there?
Yes, thanks for allowing me
Yeah,
to
dude.
share this. My TikTok is at sell that sass, so SAAS. You can find me on TikTok. You can give me a follow. Um, it's a lot of it is tips on how to be a top performing BDR, tips on how to be a top performing AE, customer stories I have. Maybe some crazy things prospects say to me. So it's all out there, and I just have fun with it. TikTok is there's no hiding. They understand my voice. They know my tonality. They know what I look like. It's all out there. So I think that's why a lot of people like TikTok opposed to maybe Instagram pictures where you can really only know so much about someone.
Yeah.
And same with LinkedIn posts. It's like TikTok really just puts it all out
Oh,
there.
dude, love it, man. So, guys, go ahead and connect with my boy Will here and check it out. Connect with this. You're watching this, listen to this episode. Just open up the show notes, go in the comments, and click on it, and follow him on TikTok, and connect with him on LinkedIn as well. But if you know there may be some business opportunities or some ways you guys can help each other. But Will, love these, man. Thank you for taking the time to come on the show.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'll be sure to blast it out to my network, get you some new followers, new fans of the TSE podcast. So
Hey,
appreciate you.
100%, man. Thank you. That was Will Padilla. Tell him you heard him here on The Sales Evangelist. And also make sure you follow him because I promise you, you're going to get a wealth of insights and information from him. As we talked about in this episode, you can structure your day and you can identify the things that are not effective for you and change it. Now, I'm not saying this is the end all be all. Neither is Will saying that. But the thing is, you can apply these principles and you can see a drastic result, a drastic improvement in your sales performance. If you're a sales leader, take principles from this, share it with your team so that it can improve as well. Because oftentimes we just get sidetracked and we just start going down a rabbit hole and doing this because that's what our agenda says. But we need to make sure that we're doing things that are sensible. And this will mean that we just have to ignore some of those automatic updates. As always, I want you to thrive and I want you to succeed. And if you want to get some help, check out my mastermind, thesalesevangelist.com/mastermind. This is where sellers come together. They practice. We get a chance to learn and improve. And we get a chance to see what's working for the best sellers. And also we get a chance to just share challenges and get updates and insights and help. The masterminds work effectively. We've adjusted pricing over the past this year, and I think you will like it. Go to thesalesevangelist.com/mastermind. As always, I want you to thrive. I want you to succeed. I want you to raise your level of thinking, but most importantly, I want you to go out and do big things. See you on the next one.